All righty. Well, welcome to Speaking of Zane. And I know we'll have a lighter crowd tonight because we had to shift it to Monday, but that's okay. We've done it before on Mondays. And even if we only have a few, I know that a lot of people watch the recording. So we will go ahead and do this week's edition of Speaking of Zane. There's my wife, Lori, who is just through that doorway over there. There's my cousin Toby. Yeah, go Braves. Wow, what a series that was with the Dodgers. My gosh. Every time Luke Jackson comes up out of the bullpen, I get scared. I don't care if we're ahead 14 runs. but I'm glad that Matzik did his thing, and we are going to Houston. So look forward to game one tomorrow night, Braves versus Astros. All right, well, let's see. Wow, it has been a crazy week since we last met. Hey, Ken, how you doing, buddy? Lot of going on since we were last together. And somebody give me an okay or a thumbs up or something just to make sure my audio and video and everything's working. A little different setup, as you can see this evening, not my normal background. Lori and I are down at my Warriors place in Ruskin, Florida. Lori was down here last week, and I made the trip down here on Tuesday. And we are okay, Ken, thank you. And we are here through the week. We'll drive back home on Friday. Might make a few little stops along the way, but we'll get home sometime this weekend. We'll see. It depends on Lori knows that I like to take these little detours every now and then. So we'll see what that looks like on Friday. But yeah, so let's see. Lori was down here last Sunday, had been down here already a little bit, helping Kelly at my Warriors place with some catering. And Lori does that very well. And has been helping with some organizing in the office there. She also does that very well, and has been able to connect with a friend of hers down here, and then I got here on Tuesday. Got here Tuesday late afternoon, early evening on Tuesday, and weather was absolutely beautiful down here. Was expecting 90 and humid, but got down here and it was 75, no humidity, just beautiful. And stayed like that for a couple days, and then it's gotten warm again, and got a good bit of rain last night and today. That's normal here in Florida. Hey, Jim Miller. And but yeah, so I got here Tuesday. We just kind of hung out a little bit on Wednesday, didn't do too much. Went and had lunch, came back, hung out. Thursday, I had a bunch of guys from work out here. Turned out to be about a dozen of us, I guess, folks from the company I work for. And we had a grand old time. I tell you, we they got here about noon, and we finished up about 5:30. And gosh, what did we do? We put one guy brought his one guy. Hey, Dad, there's my dad, Mac Marine. One guy brought his whole wood shop. He brought a portable table saw and just everything you would imagine that you might need. And he and a couple other guys, we put them on a project to build a roof for a deck that's over where the motorhomes park. So they got that done. Used a bunch of reclaimed wood, and they had some metal roofing, and put up some beams and some cross members, and it was great. You probably saw, posted a whole bunch of pictures on Speaking of Zane of what we did. But all those guys are work with me or work at the same company I work for, and we're all part of the Veterans Employee Resource Group, and they all agreed to come out and give us a hand here at my Warriors place. And there's always things to do out here, always things that need to be done. And we got that roof put up, which was nice. We got a post set cemented in to support a couple of big giant shade tarps that I'm talking big, that are going over the dog kennel run to help provide some shade out there for the dogs. She started a new portion of the retreat here dedicated to service dogs, and it includes a kennel and a run and a dog park and all kind of stuff. So we did some work there. We got the gutters and the downspouts all cleaned on this cottage that we're staying in, the Blue Cottage. We got all the gutters cleared and cleaned and tested, and that was great. And we got a lot of the mangrove trimmed back along the water front where the dock is, and put the boats in. Got a bunch of that trimmed back, and then something that was right up our alley here at the company I work for. They're installing a Wi-Fi mesh. It's called a Wi-Fi mesh coverage on the 5 acres property here, and theoretically, that's going to allow them to replace the individual cable that comes into each cottage or trailer or unit spread out, and the office spread out across the property here, and it stands to save them a couple $1,000s a month. So anyway, one of the guys happened to be a wireless expert and was able to help them do some configuration on the router and get everything working. And then what else did we do? Put a couple of new spotlights out on the at the main entrance sign. It was really hard. One side of the sign as you approach from the main road didn't have a light shining on it, so you couldn't even see the sign. So Lori and I ran out and got a couple of new spotlights, solar powered spotlights, and got those installed. So had a really good day with all my teammates. They can't wait to get back out here again. And we're already wanting to set a date for January when it's still not hot. So we'll have even more out here the next time. But something amazing happened. We had one of our business partners. We have a lot of partners that we work with to serve our mutual clients, people like Cisco, and you've heard of Cisco and HP and Dell and VMware, companies like that. This particular one that came out here with us is called NetApp, and the NetApp guy came out, and NetApp, the two guys that had things up there for us have become good friends of mine over the years, and they know about my Warriors Place through me, and they ran a little competition at work, and against some other companies like us, and we won, and they donated $2,000 in our name to my Warriors Place. And then we had an anonymous donor match that. So we're able to present Kelly with $4,000 out here that she can use for some of these projects that she's got going on. So how about that? And I didn't even expect anything like that to happen, but that was just amazing. But we had a great time, and the weather was still not overbearing, and everybody was comfortable, and we worked outdoors the whole time, and everybody was comfortable, and nobody passed out or anything. So let's see, Aunt Paula's in there. Hey, Aunt Paula, I think we are going to see Aunt Paula maybe for breakfast on our way out Friday. I think that's the plan. I know Lori and Paula have been texting one another, and I know that while we're down here, we would definitely get to see Aunt Paula and give her a hug and have a meal, I'm sure. I look forward to that, Aunt Paula. Hello there, Amy. I'm going to talk about Amy here in a minute, and the hat of the week. They kind of go together. You're right, Ken. And so let's see. So I got here Tuesday. Thursday was the work day. Friday was another amazing day. It just so happened that my friend and former teammate at work, we both led together a team of consultants, and she lives here in Tampa. You may remember Amanda. Amanda had breast cancer. It's the second cancer that she's had in her life. She had a cancer at 20 that she beat, and then she had a cancer at 40 that she's beat. And she's been dealing with this breast cancer for the last year and a half or so. And Friday was her final treatment. And her husband, made a big deal about it and put together all these activities and stuff. And so we met a lot of folks from work and her close friends and family. We met over at the Moffitt Cancer Center Friday morning. And since we couldn't all go in to watch her ring the bell, her husband set up a bell piñata out where at the exit where she would come out of the hospital, and we all gathered there and watched her come out and celebrated, and she got to beat the piñata bell and just had a good old time celebrating her remission and wishing her the best. Amanda Duggar, great friend of mine, and always will be, just the most positive and determined individual I've probably ever worked with. And I was happy that it worked out that I could attend with our fellow friends and coworkers. So that was Friday. And then Saturday morning, I got up at the crack of dawn. Actually, I got up a couple hours before dawn. I was up at 3 and flew up to Omaha, Nebraska for a whirlwind of a 20-hour trip. Actually, I was 20 hours in Omaha. I flew up there Saturday morning, and got there about 10 o'clock, 10:30, and met up with a bunch of my old pals at lunch, Amy included, and Jim Miller and Steve Shirley and others. Anyway, we had some lunch at DJ's Dugout in Bellevue, and told some lies and some stories and a few hugs, and had a good old time. And I don't know, Amy, there was probably 20 of us or so at lunch. And then after lunch, Daryl and I don't see if Daryl's in here tonight, but Daryl and I, because Daryl drove up from St. Louis overnight. He got there about 6:30 in the morning. He drove from St. Louis. But anyway, Daryl and I, after lunch, we drove over to Omaha National Cemetery, which is pretty close to the hotel I was staying at. And we, of course, dropped in and paid a visit to our old former crewmate, Todd Vanderwerken, and spent some time with him, and also got to pay our respects to Corporal Tegan Page, who, if you remember, was one of the 13 killed in that disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. And we got a chance to see him and pay our respects there at Omaha National Cemetery. It was windy, and probably during the day there, I guess it was probably 50 something, windy and 50 something. But so Daryl and I did that, and then that was Saturday afternoon, and I went and checked into the hotel, and then by that time it was time to get to the museum. The whole purpose I went up there, see, for you that don't know, the whole reason I flew up to Omaha for 20 hours was one of the aircraft that Amy and Jim and Steve and I flew on as crew members has been out of service for 25 years, maybe 24 years, something like that. And it sat for years untouched at the museum, the Strategic Air Command Museum. And 6 years ago, they finally began the restoration of our aircraft. And well, we've all seen it in various stages of its restoration over the years. And I've been fortunate enough to go up to Omaha a couple times a year for the last 10 or so. So I've seen it in various stages and been able to get together with folks like Jim and Amy and Steve and others. And but this time was special because the aircraft is complete. The restoration is complete, and the museum and the it is an official museum piece, and they had the dedication ceremony Saturday night. And I don't know, Amy, what was there? At least a couple hundred people there. I didn't count, but many former aircrew members like Amy, Steve, Jim, and I, and then ground support folks, crew chiefs, and various roles that supported the aircraft. And it was just an amazing thing. And some of the folks they were seeing this plane 049's the tail number for the first time in 20, 30, 40 years. Like I said, I've been able to get up there and see it regularly during the restoration, but some of these folks are seeing it again for the first time in decades. And wow, what an amazing thing to, first of all, to have something that you grew up on, something that was an integral part of your young life, now a museum piece. First of all, that there's a reckoning with that. And then second of all, just the flood of memories that come back, just by stepping on board. And the smell, that's the first thing and we talked about that even before we went on the plane. I hope the smell's still there. I hope the smell. And then there's every sense that you have is aware inside that aircraft, and every sense brings back a memory or three or a dozen. And it's just hard to describe unless you've been involved in something like that. I imagine it's the same way for people that have served on ships or submarines. I know when I took my dad out to the USS Midway, I could tell that he felt something that's just extraordinary. Being back in a place where you did something, that was so, at the time we didn't know it, but it was really a critical part of what our military does. And anyway, just an amazing time. I'm so glad that I got to go. I wouldn't have missed it for the world. And I appreciate Lori being, so accommodating and letting me run up there, and while we're on vacation. But it was so great. I always enjoy seeing Jim and Amy and Steve and the whole gang. Just those, your 20s are so formative. And I often tell people that I work with, that work for me, that I interview, that I talk to. I often tell them that there's Katie, Aaron. Hey, Katie. The work that I do today, 30 years later, is shaped by the things that I did in those years that I served, and especially in that airplane doing the things that we did. It really set the foundation for everything I've done since. And it's just such an amazing thing. I'm so glad that it's there for future generations to see. And I'd love to bring my kids and grandkids up there sometime and, show them around. Some people did have their children there. Pete had his son, Pete Jr. there, and some others had their children. I think the Mary and Steve Bunnell had their daughter there, I believe. But it was an awesome experience, and we had dinner. We had dinner there. We had guest speaker, and then the rest of the time was just reconnecting and going on board the airplane and walking through and seeing the great work that they've done. I mean, honestly, the plane looks much better than it did when we were flying on it. No doubt about it. I mean, this plane, correct me if I get it wrong, Amy or Jim, I think this plane was a 1960, was it a 64 model? I can't remember. But these planes were, built, the series was built in the late 50s through the early 60s. And this one fell in right about 64 or so. And we were flying them in the 80s and 90s. My peer group, Amy, Steve, Jim, we were flying them in the 80s and the 90s. But, and then this one went on to flew the last Looking Glass mission. I think I got that right. And then I remember Amy helped set this up, but we had a ceremony of the retirement, I think, of the last Looking Glass, and we turned the mission over to the Navy. But we had a big ceremony out at the museum in 1998. And here we were back again, 22, 23 years later, many of the same folks. But anyway, it was just an amazing trip. I can't say enough about it. And we probably all reluctantly left the museum about 9 o'clock Saturday night and went our separate ways. But and I did see some folks I had not seen since my time in the military. Bruce Jordan was one. 30 plus years, and you still recognize somebody and, pick right back up where you left off, and just an amazing thing. But that was just an awesome, I could talk and talk and talk and talk, but it was just an awesome experience. And they're going to be doing those things periodically, according to the director of the museum. So there'll be other opportunities down the road. Okay. Well, let's see. I spent a little more time on that than I had planned to, but that's okay. Let me look up the notes here. Oh, well, that takes us to the hat of the week, and should be no surprise about the hat of the week, considering the diatribe that I just went on. The hat of the week, obviously, is the Looking Glass. We had these made. I guess this was maybe 1990, 91, something like that. We had these made, and you can see you'd have your job description on the aircraft. Pilot, co-pilot, navigator, boom operator. We were in-flight maintenance technicians. Jim and Todd and I, and others, Amy and Steve, were communications operators, radio operators, data operators. But so this thing has lasted 30 some odd years. But there was a couple, somebody had one on at lunch, and I had this one on in the evening. But that is the hat of the week. So Ken, good job, buddy. All right, let's see. There's Cathy Cobb. Hey, Cathy Cobb. Good to have you in there. And I think Lori said that her mother is in there. Hello, Carol, my mother-in-law. All right. Well, let's see. Let's move along here and see what else we got to chat about. So let's see. I came back. I was on the 5:50 a.m. flight out of Omaha Sunday morning back to Atlanta and then to Tampa. Boy, TSA messed up. We were running late because their machines or something were messed up. But anyway, got out of Omaha, changed planes in Atlanta, got back down here to Tampa, I guess about 11:30. We were running a little bit late, 11:30 to noon. And then I drove straight from the airport over to Ybor City here in Tampa, sort of old town Tampa, Ybor City. Look it up if you've never heard of Ybor City, YBOR. But Lori was already there with Will, who's one of the guys that works here, a combat vet. And they were manning a table set up with all information and stuff about My Warrior's Place. And it's an annual fundraiser. It was a car show. They closed down 7th Street in Ybor City for, I don't know, Lori, about 4 or 5 blocks. And there were classic cars lined up both sides of the street, and just a real festive sort of environment. And there's a retired Air Force general by the name of Dave Scott, I think it is. Dave Scott. And General Scott owns a couple of establishments. One of them is called the Bad Monkey. It's like a bar restaurant there on 7th Street in Ybor City. Anyway, he coordinates this effort, and the proceeds goes to My Warrior's Place, and it's become an annual fundraiser and whatnot. So Lori was sitting out there with Will until I got out there, and then I spent some time with Will, and we got to talk with people about My Warrior's Place and tell them the story and everything. And and then it started raining, so we had to pack things up, and so head back to my Warriors place, got everything unloaded, and it was a power-packed weekend, not much rest. So I slept in a little bit this morning, but yeah, great. It was a great time. We might try to run back down. We didn't get a chance to really explore Ybor City, so we might run back over there one day this week. But yeah, that was so. That was the weekend for us, and we are not done yet. Like I said, we're going to be here till Friday. We'll head back Friday. We're in two different vehicles. Like Lori said, she might not have to accommodate my side visits and stuff. She can just keep on going. But I imagine we'll probably stop in and see my dad on the way back. At least swing by and see mom and dad and say hi. We'll see how things go. I don't have to be back to work till next Monday. Actually, I've got enough vacation. I don't have to be back to work for the rest of the year, probably, but I am going to go back next week. Let's see, what else have we got going? So yeah, it was great to see Daryl, spend some time with Daryl. It always is. And we had a really good time. And then I added, moving on to the cemetery challenge. Of course, I added our visit there to Omaha National. And I know before Daryl and I got there, Jim stopped by too, and also visited Todd. So we got me, Daryl, Jim. I missed one. So on the way down here Tuesday, you have to go right past it on the interstate. I stopped in at Florida National Cemetery. I've been there several times now, but I stopped in to visit Todd Vanderwerken's parents, who are both buried there, and spent about 10 minutes and then hop back on the interstate. But so Daryl and Guy at Omaha, Jim at Omaha, Guy at Florida National, and Daryl at Jefferson Barracks. We had 5 visits this week. So 5 visits takes our total visits to 504. We surpassed the 500 visits mark. Oh, you know what else I forgot, Amy, to mention? I got a chance, and I was so thrilled when I saw her. I got a chance to meet Amy's sister, Barb. She was there as well, and just had a great chat with her. And it was so good to put a face with a name. And she's joined us here on Speaking of Zane in the past. She's in the National Guard, and in fact, she got a couple of those cemeteries for us on a visit that she made somewhere up to New England. But Amy, it was so great to see her for sure. I'm glad I remembered to say that. She looks a lot like Amy. They look like they could be twins, but I don't know which one's older. But they favor one another. All right, let's see. I got sidetracked on that. So that's 504. We're still at 143 different veteran cemeteries. So 504 visits in total. Amy's a year older. Okay. She was, yeah, I had a couple of Speaking of Zane coins with me. I always have a couple with me. And it was just so perfect that Barb was there and I was able to give her a Speaking of Zane coin. And she was like, "You have got to be kidding me." She gave me the biggest, strongest hug that for a skinny girl that I've ever had, probably. And oh man, I started to tear up from that. But it was great to meet her. All right, let's see. So 504 visits to 143. We're doing good. Now, you guys are adding some thank you vets here in at the last minute. So I'm going to try to document. Let's see. Let me see if I missed anybody. First of all, if anybody's there that I have not acknowledged you. Welcome. Thank you guys for joining us. Even this special edition from My Warriors Place, such a special place here in Ruskin, Florida. I mean, it touches so many lives. It's just an honor to come down here and volunteer and stay here on the property. And oh, by the way, Kelly. So listen to this. So Kelly, you guys, we've had Kelly as a guest on the show. You guys may recall, you know, the story about her son Corey, who was killed in Afghanistan, September 20th, 2009. And anyway, I texted her Wednesday night and I said, "Hey, Kelly," I said, "I just want to remind you, I got all the guys from work coming over tomorrow. They'll be here about noon. I would love for you to give them the tour and the story behind My Warriors Place, as she's done thousands of times." And she says, "Well, I'm sure going to try to get over there if they let me out of the hospital." I'm like, "What?" She says, "Yeah, I had to have an emergency gallbladder surgery today." I'm like, "Then you ain't coming out tomorrow. Don't worry about it." I said, "I can tell the story and I can give the tour." I said, "You stay home and rest." And she says, "Well, I'm going to try to get there if I can." Anyway, we ended up not seeing her till Friday, and we saw her again today. But she looks great. But I know they do those surgeries now with what do they call it? Endoscopy. So a little less traumatic, but still. But anyway, so yeah, Lori didn't even know it. She said it happened so quick that she ended up just going to the doctor, being admitted, having the surgery and everything. And Lori did. I'm the one that told Lori, and Lori's been here helping her for a week. It was crazy, but she seemed to be doing okay. And we both saw her today, and I'm sure we'll see her a couple more times before we leave here. But anyway, I almost forgot to say that. Let's see. Lori has a connection too. Lori was a mechanic. I'm reading the chat here so I don't forget anybody. But Lori, I don't know if you guys knew this, Steve and Amy. And well, Steve's not with us because Steve's not with us tonight. Steve was there this weekend, but Steve and Cathy, today's Steve's birthday, and Steve and Cathy flew to the Netherlands today. And I don't know how long they're going to be there. He told me what they were doing, but they're going on another vacation. But anyway, Lori was an age mechanic. The first time that we were there, 82, 83, into 84 for Lori. But Lori was an age mechanic. So she was working on the Hobarts and the light carts and all the generators and the Dash 60s and fixing them in the shop and bringing them out to the flight line and all that stuff. She was in the 55th FMS, Field Maintenance Squadron. So she's definitely got a connection there. And Ken says, Steve broke it. You fixed it. That's right. Amy and Steve broke it. Amy and Steve were some of the good ones, though. They didn't break a lot of stuff. But there were some of their coworkers sure did. And they were always happy to have me or whoever else. There were two of us on the crew, two of the guys that fixed the stuff that they broke. So it took two of us. But I wouldn't trade those years for anything. And to still be friends with all those folks all these years later is something special. Let's see. Katie thanked two veterans at the Kroger last week. One was a Vietnam vet with a cane. He was struggling to get to cart. You and the girls helped him. Great job, Katie. He was pleased. His face lit up. The other was a Navy Vietnam vet. Boy, they had a lot of Vietnam vets in Michigan, don't they? How about that? That's awesome, Katie. Well done, young lady. I love that. So that makes two for you. I'm going to add that here in just a second. I'm just reading the comments here so I don't forget. Kelly said we brought in a lot more cash than usual. Oh, at the car thing? Oh, good. Awesome. Let's see. Yeah, that's right. Kelly normally would have been out at the car show herself because nobody tells that story, obviously, like her. But since she had just had her surgery, that Lori's like, no, you know, we've got you covered, and happy to do it. Happy to do it. There's Lanny, man. I wish you could have been there, Lanny. We talked about you, of course. How could we not? Oh gosh. But Wings over Georgia. You know, I didn't buy tickets or anything. I know it's this weekend. I'm gonna have to give that some thought. But up in Rome, Georgia. We should have planned that better, Lanny. But I'm not. I am a planner, but I've missed that one. All right, let's see. So I'm going to add Katie had to, as she usually does. And I'm going to give you the total here. So if I add her to, I'm going to tell you about the challenge that Ken issued a couple of weeks ago. All right. Well, we had a good week for the thank yous this week, and no surprise since Lori and I have been around veterans and we've been doing stuff like that. But I did thank one. I'm not going to count any of my coworkers or anything at the event. That would just be too many. But I did thank a veteran in Omaha, and I thanked two Army vets and a Navy vet at the car show. And then I met a young lady who's was the wife of a guy at our company that I'm actually hiring to go through my program. Well, his wife, it turns out, is also an Army vet, and she came out and helped with the work day. So I got a chance to thank her. And then my dad thanked. Dad, tell me if I'm missing any here for you. But Dad thanked a Marine at Lowe's and a soldier at Home Depot. So that was 2 for Dad. Lori had a good total. She had 9 at the car show. 9 vets that she thanked at the car show. And then Daryl had 2 Marine Vietnam vets that he thanked. And then he had 2 brothers that he thanked. One was a Marine and one was in the Navy. So Daryl had 4. And then add Katie's 2. So I think I'm right when I say we had 22 this week, which makes our grand total 1,115. So 1,115 times somebody who served this country heard from another patriot, "Thank you. I appreciate you." Wow. Isn't that great? I'll tell you, you don't know what that could do. You don't know how that can change somebody's day or maybe even change somebody's life. If the right circumstances are in play, that could be the thing that keeps somebody going. Oh man, somebody does give a damn. But so thank you guys for playing along. That was a good week, 22 thank yous. And remember, last week, my good friend Ken issued everybody a challenge. If we reach the 1,200 thank you mark before the end of the year, so we got 2 months to go, he's going to donate $50 to My Warriors Place, and I'm going to match it by golly. So we got $100 riding on reaching 1,200 thank yous by the end of the year. We're at 1,115. So what is that, 85 to go? How about that? So good stuff there. Thank you, Ken, for being a good patriot. All right, let's see here. Let me make sure I don't miss the chat here, because I have to, you see, I get a little different setup. I don't have my 3 monitors. The benefit of my 3 monitors, I'm having to bring a window forward and cover stuff up. But Ken says this is the 76th anniversary to his amazing parents. He lost his mom just a little bit ago, and his dad is buried at Arlington National Cemetery. His dad was alive and survived Pearl Harbor. And Ken has a wonderful story. I look forward to seeing it again, Ken, and perhaps we'll even dedicate some time to read that story on Speaking to Zane come December 7th. And just an amazing account. And well, happy anniversary to them. God bless them. All right. Truly the greatest generation, without a doubt. And Jim says that's the best time to talk about someone. I assume he's talking about Lanny. Yeah, we talked about you, Lanny. We talked about everybody. But, Ken just raised the ante there. Okay, well, I'm game. I'll match it, buddy. I'll match it. So we're up to $200 riding on reaching 1,200. So good job, Ken. That'll be awesome. Lanny's going to match it. All right. We're up to 300 riding on reaching the 1,200 mark. I love it. Absolutely love it. All right. Let's see. Katie says we should start a 5K fundraiser. I'll tell you what, Lori could probably do it. Lori's good at that kind of stuff. And I know working in concert with Kelly, they could certainly pull it off. She has a lot of activities that they're involved in. Some of the motorcycle groups do the My Warrior's Place Becomes a Stop for the poker runs that they do. And so she's very well connected here in town. And I've got a buddy at work that's in the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, and they've got some fundraising efforts going on for Kelly right now. Yeah, just an amazing cause, and like this Air Force general, being involved, and she has a lot of folks like that continually contribute in a variety of ways to keep this place going and make sure it's able to serve, who it's meant to serve. And but that's a great idea. I don't know if she's ever done a 5K, but that'll be something for us to explore. All right. Well, thank you, Ken. Thank you, Lanny. That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, Kelly is frugal, and Kelly is very, I don't know what the right word is, but she makes every penny count. I mean, when she started this place, it's 5-acre property, waterfront. If you don't know her story, go read her book. My goodness, ask me about it, and I'll tell you. Or go to the website. She's wrote a brief, mywarriorsplace.org. She's written sort of an account of how this all came to pass, and it's a great story. But anyway, she had like $50 in her bank account, and was able to buy this place, and all the circumstances aligned. And this place, she said, was infested with squatters and drug addicts. This whole piece of property that runs from the waterfront to the highway, 5 acres worth. And so there was all that to deal with. And she is so far down the road now, 11 years later. But there's a long way to go. She has this grand vision of what this place can look like. And, she's the primary marketeer for this operation. And, just amazing. She's got some young men that work here on the property, all vets that work in different capacities. And the one, Will, that we were at the car show with, he's the boat captain. He's a certified boat captain, and he does all the charters and fishing and boat cruise stuff, and just an amazing operation here. But good stuff. All right, so so good, great guys. Ken and Lanny up in the ante there. I love it. Let's see. That's about it. We do have another event coming up. Speaking of 5Ks, we're doing the Veterans Day 5K. My work is affiliated with the run out of St. Louis. They do a Veterans Day run to benefit homeless vets outfit there in St. Louis. So we've got probably 200 people at our company participating, 200 or 300. But Lori and I'll be doing that on November the 6th. Not too far off, actually. It started to cool down a bit in Atlanta, so it should be very comfortable. So stay tuned on that. I don't know exactly where we're going to do that yet. We did it at the cemetery last year, Lori and I. Cold and wet day it was, if I recall, but a very good feeling to do that for sure. Okay, well, goodness gracious, all you guys from Omaha, thank you. It was so great to see all of you and hug every one of you. And I sure do enjoy my visits up there, and already looking forward to getting back and seeing you guys again down the road. I owe Lori a trip to Omaha. I've been fortunate enough to go back a couple times a year at least over the last 10. So with work and whatnot, but Lori hadn't been back quite some time. So we'll have to see if we can get an Omaha trip on the books. But all right. Well, thank you all for joining us on a Monday night from my Warriors Place here in Ruskin, Georgia. If it wasn't dark outside, I'd walk you around the property and show you. I can see I'm looking straight out the porch here. I can see the flags that you guys see in the opening. The flags are beautiful right there on the waterfront. But just a wonderful place. If any of you ever get down here to the Tampa area, you can even come here unannounced. Just come here, drive all the way down to the office, and talk to Kelly or whoever's there, and tell them who you are, and they'll show you around. You can walk around, look around the property, and if you're a veteran, you can even stay here. But yeah, if anybody's down here in Tampa, you need to come and take a look at my Warriors Place. Lot to be done here. There can be a lot to improve, and a lot of growth potential here at my Warriors Place. And the more and more people that know about it and get involved in it, the better, obviously. But thank you all for joining us on a Monday night. Go Atlanta Braves tomorrow night, starting game 1 in Houston. And we will see how that goes. I'm looking forward to the Atlanta Braves in the World Series. All right, everybody. Well, have a great week coming up. Lori and I are planning to have a good week. We'll be home sometime this weekend if we don't get distracted somewhere along the way. I have a couple of ideas for the trip home, but I haven't shared them with Lori yet. But we'll see how it goes. Aunt Paula, can't wait to see you, give you a hug. We'll work all that out, of course. And Lori and I may even speaking of the boat captain, we may even get out on the water one day this week. We'll see how things go. All right. See you, Jimbo. See you, Amy. Everybody. See you guys hopefully next Sunday night for Speaking of Zane from my office back home in Atlanta. See you later.